Operation status quo. Operation status quo. Prepare to engage. Operation status quo. Ready to engage. Operation status quo. Engaged. Engaged. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, how we doing? How we doing? We're back here on Operation Status Quo. Don't you know? It's the only place to go, yo. How we feeling out there today on a Monday? It's a beautiful Monday, isn't it? I don't know. Every day's beautiful to me. You guys know I say that all the time. Really doesn't matter. We put labels and attachments onto everything. A day of the week, a time of the year, or this or that. You know, but every day is a beautiful day. Every moment's a beautiful moment because every moment truly is the only moment. How we doing out there today? I am Pete Palma. This is Operation Status Quo. Of course, I'm your user-friendly host broadcasting live from the comfy confines of my very own home. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the place where we observe the status quo of life. We learn to flow with the status quo of life. And then, most importantly, we learn to create our own flow of quo, yo, because that's the only way to go. So what are you doing out there today to create your own flow of quo? Let me know in the comments below, because you know if you're not living your own flow of quo, you're living someone else's flow. And that's a definite no right here on Operation Status Quo. So just a simple space. If you've never been here before, we just chat. This is what we do. This is basically it for the next 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Basically it. We just have fun, and we just talk about life, and we just observe things that are going on in the world. You know, we realize that we don't need to take everything so seriously because we're divine creations beyond our physicality, right? A lot of simple stuff, you know, but unfortunately, people want to complicate things by believing that this world is real and believing that, more importantly, not just believing that this world is real, but believing the things that are going on in this world are real as far as they're being told to us through the mainstream narratives and such. So today, ladies and gentlemen, is the 7th of April in the good year 2025. I hope you had a great weekend out there. Today's program is entitled Tax My Tariffs. Yeah, Tax My Tariffs, yo. Remember Flo on Mel's Diner? It was called Alice was the name of the show. Remember Flo? She'd go, kiss my grits. She'd go, Mel, kiss my grits. And everybody go, ah! I'd be like, oh, where's my, and then big laugh. Flo said, kiss my grits. I'm sorry if you guys are younger out there. We're going back into the late 70s, early 80s with the show Alice. You can look it up. Look it up. All right, so today we're talking about the tariffs a little bit because obviously last show that I did, which was on the 2nd of April, was Liberation Day, right, where Trump made his announcement about the reciprocal tariffs and stuff with the other countries. But I had done the show prior to his speech and such, but we all knew there was going to be problems with the economy or whatnot after that happened. Again, this always goes back to me because I always find it fascinating how people put so much emphasis and truth, I guess, into what we're told and what we're shown and what's going on. People really believe like these people are in charge and doing these things, and these are the actual policies and such. You know, I find that very amusing because, like, I don't know, personally, I just see it's very obvious. It shows, you know, itself that the whole thing is a game and a mind bleep to keep people kind of divided, off kilter, scared, whatever you want to say, really to keep people under control and keep this fake fiat system of monetary enslavement going on. That it's been going on for multiple generations, and you know, and it continues. It continues, ladies and gentlemen. Where's the applause? I know, I'm sorry. No, not crying. We're not going to cry. Hold on, since we're crying, let's get to the drum. All right, I'm sorry. I do that all the time. I really apologize. I'm trying to get better with not being so ADD. But anyway, let's just take this from a base level. First of all, the reason I'm doing this today mostly is because I can't tell you how happy I am to watch, you know, the stock market crashing in the way it is and everything just going kaplooey. And I don't mean that, again, because I talk about it all the time. It's not about being an anarchist or anything here on Operation Status Quo. It's about realizing that the system that has been created is designed to keep us enslaved and trapped in certain ways. And, you know, until it really changes, we're not going to be free, our true freedom. I know some people like who don't understand me at all think, you know, it's just like, you know, it's crazy. crazy. This is the way it is. This is but if you really look at it, it's kind of simple to see that there are forces at play behind the scenes that we don't know, the true leaders of the world, whatever, and they play both sides, right? It's one group that created two sides. It's like having like your baseball team or any team, football team, but whatever, pick a team, your home team of whatever sport, and then they just split in half and play each other, and all of a sudden half of them are good guys and half of them are bad guys. It's really like it's like the same thing. It's like and they just create these characters and then these ways of doing things that it goes, the Democrats do this, the Republicans do this, and it goes back and forth, and then this person said this, and this person was a Republican now that became a Democrat, and vice versa. Now we're going to do this person's a liberal, this person's an independent, and ultimately way up, blah, 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 blah. It's all the same people just disseminating all these different methods down to make people feel like they have options, but make people feel like they have choices, to make people feel like there's opportunities for change, when in reality, they know how they're gearing everything purposefully, so in the way that they want it to be. It's always leading into the direction they want it to go. Ultimately, that's what I think is so interesting about how COVID happened and everything else too. Like, because I believe the universe is ultimately one and everything is ultimately, I don't want to say good because there is no good or bad, right or wrong. Like everything just is what it is, and it's in its perfection as it is, right? So like the universe is a game of itself, like our bodies, our lives, this whole existence, everything's like a game, unto itself. And when I look at COVID, people want to get on and talk about, it's a bio weapon that was designed in a lab, right? And then it was released and then this happened. And then other people say no, it's not true, and it's this other way, and other people say, you gotta, the jabs aren't bad for you. The jabs are bad for you. It's like it's all this rigmarole going on. But the truth is, like from on a level that we don't see, there are people pulling the strings that are making all that happen. Right, the level of confusion they create, whether the jab is bad or good. Maybe some were bad, some were good. Was it even anything real? Was it a saline solution that you were getting and you don't even know? I'm just trying to say you don't even know, right? But it's like everything is just kind of disseminated down in all these facets across the board to get, and it gives people, it just separates people in all these directions. So, I mean, that's the gist of it. Like, when I look back on COVID and how it came about, now I'm getting off topical, but I want to talk more about the tariff. Well, it's all interrelated, but when COVID happened, my first instinct, reaction was, this is an attack on the people. I mean, they're taking our freedoms away. They're telling us what we have to do, telling us we got to wear a mask. I mean, all this stuff that just was really set me, over the edge. But when I look back on it, it's a good thing, right? Because And that's why I'm saying the universe does everything the way it needs to do to reach people in different ways. Some people are going to hear a message based on this issue. Some people are going to hear a message based on that issue. And you know, to me, I always say COVID is like just such a blessing because it was such an event that created such a, right? I mean, I don't have to explain it. You were there, right? If you were there, unless you're too young to remember. I don't know. If you're too young to remember, you're probably not watching this show right now. But, and I just find it fascinating of how that instant, think about how it started with that, right? Where we're talking about all of a sudden we're going to shut down everything for 2 weeks to flatten the curve. They started with that. And think about where we are today and how things have gone, not just politically within the United States, but around the world. The wars that have been going on. I mean, this thing with Russia and Ukraine is like 3 years now or whatever, right? It's just crazy how it's, and then not only that, you know, from that with COVID led people not just talking about what COVID really was, or was it really a pandemic, or was it really this, or was it really that, or whatever, right? But that took a whole nother level of course, people say conspiracies and stuff, but it brought up so many things that haven't been, I mean, it even brought us back to talking about 9/11 and what really happened there. And there's so many more reports out now about all these structural engineers that talk about there's absolutely no way the buildings could have came down the way they did with a plane. And, I'm not even trying to pick on that issue. It's all the same is what I'm saying. All this crap has been happening for generations. Just been happening. It's been happening. Like you go back World War II, before World War II, just saying it's all been happening. And we just been so coerced into this way of life, this, especially like when the televisions started, television comes into people's homes in the, late 40s or whatever. Next thing you know, everybody's got a box in front of their face, and that turns in, that's part of it too. These higher up people that disseminate down to the population, everything is laid out in a generational way of planning. No one has to like take over the world tomorrow. No one's, like they could just send an army over and just take over the whole world or something like in one day. It's done very systematically over the course of generations. So, by the time I'm dead and gone, and the people that are just born today are 50, 60 years old. Like by then, like it's so many more things have happened that no one's thinking about what happened back in 1970 or you understand what I'm trying to say? So it's like that to get back to the tariffs, and kind of the point of like what I'm saying is that like Trump is an instrument, just like, and I talk about this all the time, like this whole thing with people hating each other over who's supporting who in politics. It's just crazy. He's whatever he is, whether he's a bad guy, good guy, whatever. He's a part in the bigger picture. His job is to crash this system. And I know people get upset when talking about, I talk to people, especially with my history of working with the government and things like that, people who have their pensions and all these things for years. And I try to explain, like, the money's not real. Like, they could turn it off any time, and all of a sudden you worked your whole life and they could pull that out from under you. I mean, they could pull it out. They can look what happens with the stock market, right? This is going on with this trade war. You invest in this market that they tell you where else you putting your money, in a sense, right? Where everybody's kind of trained to just put it into these stocks, which aren't even real. They're just futures and options, derivatives of assets, not even true value of any asset, right? Just made up shit. So, and then everybody gets in on that, and then they decide that they're going to do whatever. Now we'll call it a trade war. We're going to, tax the tariffs, right? We're going to do reciprocal tariffs and taxes and blah, blah, blah. And now everybody loses all this money. So is it the individual's fault who got up early every day and lived by what the system said and went to work and did what they were supposed to do and took care of their family and saved, for their retirement? And when the time comes, that you're losing everything that you put away, So I don't know. I just think, like, I don't think we should be dependent. Like, I think it's a good thing if this whole thing crashes, in a sense. Just imagine the banks go down, the mortgages go away, all this kind of stuff. Like, people are worried about how they're going to make money. I'm never a believer in money. I don't even understand, like, the whole concept of exchanging money in a way is like very odd to me. It's this, like, what does money do? Like, you don't need to buy anything, essentially. If we lived in a different way, I know I'm getting into my over the top philosophical kind of stuff again, but we could easily have a world where, food is growing all around us, and we work together to build communities and shelters that serve the best for humanity. We could be tapping into our spiritual side more, remembering that we're not just these physical bodies. We're not slaves to our physicality. There's not an out there getting us, right? It's not out there getting us. It's what's out there is what's emanating from within us. So, if we change how we feel in here, what's out here changes, and we see a different picture instead of looking out here and thinking, I'm afraid and it's out to get me, right? There's a lot of things we can do where, we can have means of exchange with people, right? To me, I feel like more valuable than money is like time and courtesy and consideration, and like, sitting there to help somebody or to listen to somebody when they're having a bad day. Like, that's like currency to me, in a sense. Like, it's like, I don't look for money. I'd rather sit and somebody needs help and I can sit and talk to them or help them with something like that. That gives me a lot of vibrance. And I don't want, maybe that person cooks a meal for me because I did something nice, or like things like that. Or somebody who's a good carpenter comes and fixes something in your home, and you're a good plumber and you fix something in their home. I don't know. It just seems like we put a lot of complications on our whole life based around, gathering money and materials. And it's all done at the behest of how these people that we don't see, these systems that we don't know above what we do see and know, disseminating down and creating the parameters in which we do so. And it's very limiting. And we're running around in this circle trying to keep up with something that they keep changing the rules all the time. If you think about it, over the course of time, you never get a strong footing. You never really know how where you're going to end up or there's no end to it, is what I'm saying, right? Today it's this, and then they start taxing you. Your taxes always go up. This always goes up. Oh, now it's a new type of insurance you need, or it's always just they just keep adding to it and sticking it to you and sticking it to you and sticking it to you. And I just don't think people realize in a way really want to. There's nothing to fight. There's nothing to fight per se. It's about not participating, not giving your power away to the system, and to realize that how much power each of us as individuals have to create the world that we want to see, right? So again, kind of trying to wrap it all up. I don't know if I would. Let me give a round of applause for a second, because I think I need a break. My brain. Hold on, let me get my drum. So, yeah, I just think there's a lot that we could be doing in different ways. And I really enjoy what I'm seeing. I'm like 50, right? 51. So just say, my lifetime and the stage of life I'm in, people who are in their 20s might think differently. People who think they're in their 70s, 80s might think differently. But, for me, to the way I've always thought and believed as a young child of this world being wrong, right? To see the possibility, not only the possibility, but the actual happening of these changes and these big world changes. I think there's so much more to come between the technology and what will be happening with the artificial intelligence and such. I think it's all liberation. I know people worry about AI taking over, or we're going to be, losing jobs. Like, it's okay. Don't worry about losing the jobs. Like, what are you losing? You know what I mean? Like, what are you losing to go sit in an office all day or do nonsense? I mean, I was listening to somebody talk about lawyers would be, kind of not needed anymore with the artificial intelligence. The guy was talking about using Grok or whatever AI thing he's using out there now. And he was making up some legal documents that he needed. He just typed into the AI what he was looking for and got these legal documents. And, I started thinking about it. That's pretty interesting, really, right? I mean, you can do that with everything, even the job that I had before working with the government. That's what people don't realize with the government, like all these firings and stuff. You're being free. You're being set free to go find who you are and do what is in your heart, instead of sitting there doing some slop that they create just to waste your time. It would take 2 seconds for AI to, do a contract for the government to go buy something, instead of like a group of 50 people going back and forth for, 6 to 8 months, all making $100,000 a year, right? Yeah, it's just so, even the Department of Government Efficiency, all the stuff they're finding with these computers that are just printing money, right? They're not attached to any banks. They're not attached to anything. They're just printing money, just, writing checks and printing money wherever they go. It's so huge, and everybody wants to focus on, Trump's an idiot, this, that, he's causing hardship for the American people, and we're already in hardship. The only way to be free, and I'll kind of leave it with this, is to crash the system. Until it goes down, we're not seeing any accurate or fair value for what is being shown, is what I'm saying. What we see on the markets is not fair value. It's not really what the prices are. As a matter of fact, let's go check here while I'm here real quick and see, because I was really happy. Okay, it's down. It was over 1,000 points down in the beginning, and then it lessened. It was only the Dow. I'm talking about the Dow. It was down 700 something, but now the Dow's down over 800 points. The S&P 500 is down 75 points. About NASDAQ is down 182. So everything's kind of down, and I think even the metals today went down. Let me go over here to my commodities section. Yeah, gold took a pretty good hit today. Look, gold's under 3,000 now, and it was holding strong at that for a while. But again, these are not the real prices of, and silver was basically around 35. It took a big hit the end of the week and went down to, matter of fact, late last night it was 28 something, but now it's just under 30. It's 29.81. But again, these are the future and options prices. These aren't the real value of anything. So I think what's going on is amazing. I think it's great. I mean, I just let it crash. I don't think people should be worried out there. It's not about like, you lose your money and stuff. I got stuff invested too, but I don't care. I mean, if it all goes down, what are you going to do? If the banks are closed and nobody can collect money and nobody can get money, we're all in the same boat, right? So we just work together and we help each other instead of pointing fingers. It doesn't matter. The dollar's not worth anything anyway. So let's embrace the changes and what's coming forward, and stop looking at everything on such a face value and thinking politics, looking at it as all political and all. It's all just such a big show. I don't know. I just want to try to get it across to people. It's just such a big show. And I don't want to say lies, but, purposeful, I don't know, drama, I don't know what, but it's everything in this life is a lesson to learn. Again, if you can come from the space of just knowing that we're all one, or, the universe is one. Think about changing our concept of time and space, changing our concept of what it even means to exist and live and who we really are, to have that separation, to look at yourself separate from yourself, right? Like when we get to those bigger moments of realization, it really lets all the stuff that we're dealing with today fade away. And I will finally leave it with this. I think I always say I'm going to leave it with this, and then I wind up doing something else to leave it with. But that's just the way it goes here on Operation Status Quo. But we leave it with saying that everything, the turmoil that we're seeing in this world, I've mentioned this before, but it's a culmination of all the oppression that's been experienced for multiple generations, and it's all coming to a head, and it's all being shown so people can make their choice. Without the truth coming to light, in a sense, we wouldn't be able to have the contrast we need to make the choice to create the better way, or to make more positive choices in our life. So we have to know about the human trafficking, the abuse of children. We have to know about how we've been robbed monetarily through the years. We have to know how our government was usurped long ago, how, the Federal Reserve, everything, right? We have to know all this stuff, how it's been this plan, this orchestrated plan for, again, generations to get everybody into the space where we are today. But the universe, right, is always working together, and it's all about the best interest. So it had to go in one way, and now that it's all there, the light will be shown, I guess, shined or shown upon it, and it'll illuminate, and people will be able to see, like, my gosh, and see from a different perspective. And then boom, then we make new choices, and we go, and we have a better way for a time period until humanity goes in the crap once again. So it's just a cycle. We just happen to be in this portion of it. Let's enjoy it, because I think the world's going to a better place. Tax my tariffs. Hey, Mel, kiss my grits. Kiss my grits. Yeah. Oh, come on. We're just kissing grits. Don't be upset about it. We gotta kiss some grits. We gotta kiss some grits. We gotta kiss some grits. It's the only thing to do. Yeah. One more little drum before I go. Can I just do it for you? Yeah! Oh my God, is that mad crowd still there? I go on and on and on and on. There they go. They're finally going. I think it's one of my longest sound effects. But anyway, guys, I love you out there, and I really think it's beautiful times, and let's just let it ride out. And remember, the more that goes away of the mainstream system that we've been enslaved to for generations, the better we're going to be. So let it slip slide in away. Let it slide away, and let's enjoy it as it dissipates from our lives. Okay? All right. That's what I got. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to check out the website, pete.palma.com. Don't forget to check me out on Facebook and Instagram and posting some fun stuff up there. I hope you enjoy it. I come up with these little crazy ideas and make these little videos all the time. It's very spontaneous. People probably think I'm crazy. Like, what's this goofy bastard doing? That's probably what they think. But hey, whatever. This is why I'm authentically me, and I'm here for you. I'm a man of the people, and I love you out there, each and every one of you, individually as well as a group. You know that. That's why I say God bless you and be well. All right? If you haven't done so already, please take the time to like, subscribe, share. Send this out to your friends, your family, those you love, and of course, those you despise as well. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget the album's coming out May 2nd. Happy Day is the name of the album, and it will be a happy day May 2nd when it's released. Go to pete.palma.com, follow along, play the home game, stick with me. I love you guys out there. Until next time, Operation Status Quo, disengaged.